Hey everyone, so Simon here for the Incredible Fundamental Changes. Today we are looking at looking inside Jens's new book, Modern Jazz Guitar Concepts. We're going to be looking at what you will get when you buy this book, what is included in this book. If you don't already know Jens, go and check out his YouTube channel. It is absolutely unbelievable resource for jazz-based learning on the guitar. So, let's have a talk through what you get in the contents. Now, I should point out, like I do in all of these videos, I work for Fundamental Changes. I have not opened this book, so this is a reveal for me as well, because I think it's good that you can see what I can see at the moments that I see it. So, the contents of this book: Chapter 1, No Alterations or Passing Notes. Chapter 2, Chromatic Enclosures. Chapter 3, Harmonic Minor on the 5, or V, the 5 chord. Chapter 4, the altered scales. Getting good already. I'm getting excited now. Can't wait to do some of this myself. Chapter 5, the diminished scale on the dominant 7th chord. Chapter 6, putting it in a blues, and a conclusion. So let's flick to past the introduction here to no alterations or passing notes. Now you will have seen over the last few weeks I've been posting some of Jens's lick videos to promote this book. If you haven't seen those, go and check those out as well. So, starts off here with example 1, the C major scale. I think quite a lot of you will be familiar with that. I'm not going to spend too long there. Example 1b is arranging triads in C major. So you've got your chords from C major, C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B minor, and Jens is putting them into little mini arpeggios. So you can start to map out the neck, and then more patterns within those arpeggio shapes. Very useful to start to, if you're playing on standards, you've got these little mini patterns you can move all over the neck, very freeing. So those arpeggios are great. As I said, I've not seen this either. Now it starts to get into, when we get to 1G, Jens is starting to introduce the 2-5-1, the pattern in the key of C. So we've got D minor 7, G7, C, and he starts to show you how to implement the arpeggios with some little slides to create some licks, and these are in the style of the licks that you will have seen over the last couple of weeks. So moving through chapter 1 there, lots more amazing 2-5-1 ideas based around sort of the C major type scale, but alternating with the arpeggios to highlight the changes. As the chapter is called No Alterations, it means you're going to be not adding in any of the outside notes, which we will get to maybe talk about in a minute. So chapter 2 is Chromatic Enclosures. If people don't know what an enclosure is, they can learn about it more here, but it's basically going either below a note, above a note, to the note in the middle, or above a note, below a note, to the note in the middle. So that adds a very, very classic jazz sound. Once again, Jens shows you the C major scale here, and then he shows you two types of approach. Well, he's actually given you another one here that actually two different ones to what I said. So there you go. There's a different way. He approaches it chromatically and from a different string. So all the ways you can approach even one note, say the major third, and how you can highlight that in a modern jazz context. He's going to give you some fantastic knowledge. Here's the major scale. Then he shows you the major scale with approach notes. Now, by the time I get to show this to my students, they're already sounding pretty jazzy, and they've only got their C major scale. One thing I come up against all the time is people say to me, oh, how many different scales do I need to learn to sound jazzy? Well, one. Or either the minor pentatonic or the major pentatonic, or the major scale. So two maybe. Because then once you add things to it, it can sound jazzy and sophisticated. It's not the scale itself, it's how it's used. So that's what it'll be telling you here. C major scale descending with patterns. And then he starts to use the chromatic enclosures around C major triads, and on a variety of, on D minor and G major as well, and then starts to apply those to the same 2-5-1 in C, D minor 7, G7, C major 7, of how you can build that into your licks, how you can add chromatic enclosures, because that's going to instantly give you that more modern, tasteful jazz sound over your 2-5-1. And then you can start to take any of these patterns to any change. You can start to use them on a jazz standard, autumn leaves, or whatever you're working on. So this will be the starting point for all your new fresh ideas. So moving through chapter 2 then, there's a wealth of 2-5-1 ideas that use chromatic enclosures. I can't wait to check some of those out myself. Chapter 3, harmonic minor on the 5. So for any of you more rocky guys, there's lots of guys that have been using that in the rocky context, like an Ingvar Malmsteen, but in the jazz context, it gives a beautiful dissonance, if you like, a chance for you to pull you back to the 1 chord from the 5 chord, and it has this beautiful, almost Spanishy kind of Eastern flavour, I would say, that might conjure up what the sort of sound you're going to get from the harmonic minor. So Jens shows you harmonic minor scale, and then he starts to show you how to apply the arpeggios of the harmonic minor. Now in the major chords, you've got, when you build the chords on the major scale, you've got major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. But the chord pattern when you build it on the harmonic minor triads is different. C, D flat, E diminished, F minor, G diminished, A flat augmented, B flat minor, and he shows you how to map out the scale in arpeggios. This is really, really fantastic information. Fun as well, fun to do this. And then he shows you how to do that in a variety of ways across the pages here. More arpeggio shapes, and then as you go through, there are now 2-5-1 examples in F here. Again, I'm reading this for the first time. G minor 7, C7, F major 7, and then he will start to be applying some of the principles he's doing here with the harmonic minor over the 5 chord, in this case, C7. Moving through there, a ton of 2-5-1 examples that start to introduce that harmonic minor concepts. Chapter 4, a cool sound, the altered scale. Think of guys like Robin Ford and Larry Carlton if you're into kind of that jazz blues type context where you might really like blues, but you like that sound that goes, oh, what was that? It's interesting to the ear. It makes you pick up. It's not just Joe Broggs' standard minor pentatonic licks. You can sound like Mr. Sophisticated by adding in a few of these altered scales, harmonic minor. So this is what the modern jazz concepts that Jens is bringing to the surface here. So he gives you your B flat altered scale. He gives you the chord shapes from the B flat altered scale. I'm pumped to get into this myself. I know I keep saying that, but it's good stuff. And then he shows you the chords there. B minor major 7, C sharp minor 7, D major 7 sharp 5, getting some sexy chords now. E7, F sharp 7, G sharp minor 7 flat 5, A sharp minor 7 flat 5. How to build those arpeggios, how to build triad chord shapes, and then starts to relate those to a 2-5-1 in the key of E flat, but playing over the B flat altered with the altered scale that you're learning in this chapter. Then you've got a wealth, as I keep using that word, or a lot of 2-5-1 licks in the key of E flat that use the altered scale. Really great sound. I love the altered scale and the harmonic minor. The diminished scale on the dominant 5. So there's a lot of information here about how to get your over the 5 chord sounding sophisticated, and that's what we really want to do, because often when you're on the 2 and the 1, you want to sound fairly inside the box, but then on the 5 chord you've got room to make some fresh new sounds. So the diminished 7 on the diminished scale on the dominant 7th chord, he shows you the diminished scale shape, shows you how to build chords from that. In the same way, the similar structure there, how to do triads and inversions all over that, all across the neck. And yep, you guessed it, anyone who's watching along here, you're then going to apply that to 2-5-1 licks in the key of B flat. And over the F7, you will be applying these diminished patterns, scales and licks. Loads of licks there then in B flat for the 2-5-1 that use that. And chapter 6 is kind of putting it all together in a kind of blues or a jazz blues context. So here, Jens has written out a full solo for you, a kind of jazz blues 12-bar type feel here, it looks like. And he's using some of the context that he's put in the piece. And then he analyses how he's worked the solo for you from that too. So there's a ton of ideas in here. Harmonic minor, altered scale, diminished scale. You're going to sound incredibly... You're going to bring your playing up to a new level of sophistication. That's kind of one of the main reasons for this book. You're going to love it. I bought this. It's going to be fun. I will see you next time for some more reveals and some more videos. Take care. I'll see you soon.